We are now welcoming on stage our 17th project of a day, which is called To What Extent Are Certain Treatments Used to Prevent Hormone Breast Cancers from Reappearing in Women, led by Aikaterina. The floor is yours, Aikaterina.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to present to you my 2-year research project to what extent can certain treatments prevent the reappearance of hormonal breast cancers in women. So allow me to start by explaining a bit how the idea and why I did the project. So 7 years ago, my mother got diagnosed with breast cancer. And as an 11-year-old child, you don't really understand what cancer is. Yes, you understand that it is life-threatening and a very heavy disease, but the biology behind it can be really hard to explain. So I put it in my mind, and now that I'm old enough to understand the biology behind it, I decided to do a research project on it. So allow me to start with explaining some statistics about breast cancer. So 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer at least once in their lifetime. In 2022, the US estimated that about 87,000 cases will be reported in the US, and about 43,000 deaths will be caused. So what is breast cancer? The very compact definition is that cancer is an autoimmune genetic disease that is caused by mutations. Mutations are mistakes when the DNA of your cells replicates, such as oncogenes and DNA genes. Oncogenes control the life of cells. So these mutations will cause cells in the breast to form tumors or lumps. These can either be benign or malignant. Benign is, in a nutshell, good tumors, so the ones that we're not usually scared of, while malignant are cancers, and they are more invasive and more dangerous. So the anatomy of the breast, in order to understand the tumors that can develop, we need to understand a little bit about the breast. So the main parts and the main glands of the breast are the lobules and the ducts. The lobules will produce milk when a woman will be breastfeeding, and the ducts are essentially the little tubes that will take that milk to the nipple. So carcinomas are another way of describing cancerous tumors, are usually adenocarcinomas. Adenocarcinomas are tumors that form in the glands. And these separate into lobules and ducts, and then further into invasive and in situ tumors. Invasive tumors are usually the tumors that will spread outside of the tissue they're contained, while in situ means that they will remain within the tissue, for example, within the lobules or within the ducts. This leaves us with 4 main types of breast cancer: ICD, IDC, which is 80% of all cases reported; DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, which is also considered as stage 0 breast cancer. Excuse me, I forgot to mention that IDC stands for invasive ductal carcinoma. LCIS, which is lobular carcinoma in situ, and this is not, I did not mention this in my research because it's considered to be more of a condition than a cancer. And ILS, invasive lobular carcinoma, which is the second most common breast cancer, hormonal breast cancer found in women. This is a chart that was made in 2022 by the most common types of cancers. Of course, there is more than the 4 types I've mentioned, but I had to narrow my research down because I was not able to go into detail for each and every one. The TNM system is the method that doctors use to classify tumors. It has 7 key points: the size of the tumor, the adjacent lymph nodes affected by the tumor and the cancer cells, the spread, metastasis to distant organs. Metastasis is when cells from within the tumor spread from that one place and travel to other parts of the body and stay there and form new lumps in those new places. In breast cancer, it is common in the liver, in the bones, and in the brain. Estrogen receptors, progesterone receptors, HER2 status, HER2, Herceptin is another hormone that controls growth and life and cell life in the breasts. And finally, grade of the cancer. Grade of the cancer has to do with how similar the cells are, the tumor cells are with your healthy cells. So all these will allow a doctor to give a woman a staging and will allow to choose the correct treatment. It is very important to note that that every cancer is unique and there is no such thing as one treatment that can be applied to all women. So each woman will have her own treatment and her own treatment plan, depending on her cancer. Why is it important to choose a correct treatment? The point of a treatment is to remove the tumor and prevent metastasis as much as possible. And treatments can be divided into two categories, systemic treatments and local regional treatments. The difference is that systemic treatments will go through the whole body of a patient while local regional treatments will only focus on one part. So I focused on 5 treatments, which is surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, hormonal therapies, and targeted therapies. I will go into brief detail about each. Surgery is a local regional treatment. It only focuses on one area. Main point is to remove the tumor. It allows to perform biopsies, which will allow the doctor to give a precise staging. And there is 2 main types, which is lumpectomies and mastectomies. In mastectomies, the whole breast tissue will be removed, while in lumpectomies, only the tumor will be removed and maybe some adjacent tissue. Moving on to chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is quite common. It's the most common systemic treatment. It targets the whole body, and it works by destroying the DNA of replicating cells. This is why a lot of patients lose their hair, because it targets cells that divide very fast. And hair follicles, for example, divide very fast, and that's why a lot of patients lose it. It can be taken in 5 different ways, which I have specified in my research. Radiation therapy, local regional treatment. It also works by destroying the DNA, and you can have it either externally or internally. Hormonal treatments are also one of the most common types of treatments that a woman will take. They're usually long-term. They're systemic treatments, and I specify 3 in my research, which is tamoxifen, toromifen, and anastrozole. These treatments are divided into premenopausal and postmenopausal. So depending on whether a woman is post or premenopause, she will take different types of medication. Targeted therapies, here I focused only on one treatment, which was for the Herceptin hormone, which was trastuzumab. Then I had 3 case studies, which I will not go into too much detail which was, I had the excellent opportunity of talking with 3 women, and they told me about their treatment plans and how they're doing now, which I mentioned a lot in my research paper. I'll finish here, as I'm running out of time. And thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So your presentation seemed to go really, really well. You were a little bit in a rush, apparently. So what happened?
I made my presentation too big. I was, I got to know that it was supposed to be 5 minutes, only like a little bit before I came here. So I had to kind of like skip a part of it. But I think I got my main points across.
That's great to hear. What motivated you to go with the topic? Was there like a great inspiration or somebody who advised you to go that path? What was the idea?
So when I first came in Luxembourg, a couple of times later, so about 7 years ago, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And what motivated me was that as an 11-year-old child, yes, you understand that cancer, oh, it's the disease, it's dangerous. But if someone tries to explain that to you, you're not really going to get it. So I said, when I'm going to be old enough and able enough to understand what is happening, I'm going to do research about it and I'm going to learn it. And now that I am able to do it, I did it.
Great. Is that something that you want to follow up in the future? Is that something that you want to invest more time in? So, for example, in your studies? Or is that something that you prepared as a project and because it was important to you, but you're going down a different path now?
Well, I'm hoping to study biomedicine in university, which will involve a lot of research. More specifically, I'm looking into biogenetics, so I might be looking further into it I hope in my career. So I do want to continue with it, yeah.
That's a great plan. Then throughout the project, do you think this is an issue that needs to be talked more about, presented more to the public? You were pointing out that it's something that might be presented a little bit too late to a younger audience. How do you think this topic can be approached for the future so people become more aware of it?
Well, I think the biggest issue is that a lot of women don't actually know that it's very common. So when we're looking at the statistics, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer at least once in their life. If you look at it that way, it sounds really not uncommon. So I think what's important for the future is maybe to be more open about it, because in the end, it helps women know that there is other women that are going through the same thing as them. It's definitely important that we let younger generations know about it so they can also be prepared in case something happens. There's a lot of taboos on the topic. Many women want to talk about it. Many women don't feel comfortable talking about it. So I guess if we can open it up, that would be quite nice.
Well, thank you very much for talking about it. Let's talk a bit about your experience during this project. You told us before that not everything went as planned.
Oh, yes. Well, I was meant to participate with a different project. I'm still happy, though, I participated with this one. During my research, I think the hardest part is that I could not... my project was fully desk research, so secondary research looking into records that have already been made, because I don't have the facilities and the knowledge to do a research on breast cancer. So it was extremely time-consuming, and spent a lot of hours on it, reading, discarding data, and trying to find the ones that I needed to basically condense it into a smaller research that will be easier to understand, to follow.
And what do you think was your biggest learning from all of it?
I learned so much, honestly.
Or do you have any advice for people who haven't joined before and who want to embark on this project?
I think the main thing is that you need to not be scared of the work. That, okay, it is a lot of work, but if you divide it up, set a schedule, it's more than manageable. And it's a great opportunity to be able to research something and present it and know that it might help someone. So I would definitely advise people to do more research and participate.
Well, thank you very much. I think these are really great last words. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.